pretty, pretty. Hey garden gals and guys, it's Steph with Tiny's Garden. I am a home gardener gardening in zone 5B/6A in the Chicago suburbs. I garden out of 16 raised beds. I have, is it 16? No, 14. 14 raised beds. I have 6 in the front and 8 in the back. And I also have a little cut flower garden area that is mostly bouquet. But I wanted to hop on here and give you a bit of a tour because it's been a while. I had identical twin girls about 6 weeks ago. It'll be 6 weeks ago in a few days. And so I just wanted to show you where everything is at currently in its present state because I've got some really beautiful things. Now today is July 17th and this, believe it or not, is the first time I've ever grown sunflowers, and I have them growing in one of my beds up front, and I love how you can see this against my black garage. It's like a pop of color right in the center with the yellow, and this particular variety has a little bit of burgundy on the inside. If I can find the variety name, I will put it on the screen. These I did start in soil blocks, and they did well for me too, even when I put them out into these raised boxes, because typically sunflowers don't like transplanting, but I only started a few and they're doing well. This is one that has just opened and you can see how beautiful it is. I will say they're smaller than I thought, but still pretty. Now I am reluctant to cut these because I like coming out and seeing them in bloom, but I am going to cut them to give them away to one of my husband's friends tonight in a little bouquet mason jar, but I will be growing more sunflowers for sure. On these here, it's a really nice example what it looks like here on the right when it first opens. It's a punchy yellow and a burgundy, and then in the middle, kind of in the middle of its prime, it's still got a lot of burgundy but more of a faded yellow. And then here is another option that has been bloomed for a little while. The burgundy is a little more faded, but all quite beautiful. And then what I planted in front of the sunflowers here is what I believe is called the Autumn Blaze Celosia, a floret original, and it is really pretty. I started these from seed in soil blocks, and I am happy. I only have 4 because I was in a rush before the girls were born, but I'm going to bring you up close so you can kind of see the metallic sheen-like quality that I think they have. Now for the most part, I think mine are pretty much all the same color, although I know on the seed packet it says there's variation, so I think I just didn't have enough started. But if we look closely at this one, it just almost looks like it's on fire in a way. Kind of metallic-y and reflective. Really, really pretty. And I haven't pinched these, but you can see how many branches are on these. So I'm gonna harvest a few of these, and what this is great for is a spiky component in a bouquet. So you have your thriller flower, one that really stands out, and then it's nice to have a spike in there, one that's tall. And I think I'm just going to cut all the way down here, because this is a mason jar vase, so it doesn't need to be super long, but this will add a nice spiky component into that sunflower bouquet. And I guess if I had to say what color I think is like a magenta. But this is interesting. I just said I thought mine were all the same color. And I think this one is more reddish than this, but I think this one is older. So it's really interesting. Let's take this one too. So here's the difference. This is the one that I think has more of a red color to it. And then this is the one I think is more purple, but you can see it's a little more aged. Interesting, both pretty though. So you can see how adding the celosia or the spike component adds a different texture and adds height of vertical interest. Then in the middle here we have Queenie Lemon, which is the first time I'm growing this variety of zinnia, and I direct sowed all of these. I've never direct sowed zinnias before, and let me tell you, it's easy. I don't think I'll be starting them inside anymore because it's going to be a time saver, and they're really healthy for the most part. These I even got in a little later than I would have liked. So I'm hoping the color is coming across because it is starting to get darker, but it's got a lemony tint to it. It's definitely different than Queen Lime, but it's pretty. I like it a lot. Now keep in mind when you're harvesting zinnias, you're gonna cut deep into the plant. So this is at least how long I would go. This is pretty short. I just did this short because it's a shorter base, but usually even if you have to sacrifice some blooms, at least an elbow's length. So this is about perfect there. And then of course I strip the leaves, and if there's any bugs I try and blow them off or get them out of there. And what that will do is when you're cutting deep into the plant, it'll produce more new shoots and you'll get so many more flowers. But this is Queenie Lemon. And down here by the bouquet I have Sahara Rudbeckia. And that has taken longer this year as well. It started out a little weak because I waited a little too long to get it into the ground. But I did get it in, and it should start to send up some blooms soon. Now my snapdragon beds right now are looking very tired because we've had a lot of rain and I've harvested a lot off of them. So I'll put some footage of when they were really in their prime. And then over here, this is where I placed some more Flora Originals zinnias. Now I'm not for sure of the varieties on these because these I just tossed in and prayed that they would grow very quickly, direct seeded. But I am starting to get some blooms and some that are palm size. So I have heard some people saying they're not as excited as they thought they would be about them, but everything I've seen so far I'm very encouraged by. And I saw Erin from Flora put out a video just today or yesterday about when to harvest them. So make sure you check that out if you can on her Instagram. I'll put that below because it's a really great video about how and when you should harvest these types of zinnias to get the best looking bloom. Here are two that are ready for me now, and I think that's pretty. Beautiful blush color and a pretty size. This one right here, I mean that is the size of my palm, if not a little bigger. Lots of layers in the petals. Again, I deeply apologize because I'm not sure what the specific variety is, but beautiful, beautiful, huge bloom. Now this one here is a different color and it's smaller, but I don't think it's quite ready to harvest. Either way, I really like the color. It's like a mauvey type of color with more of a purple inside center. Really pretty. I apologize for the lighting because it is getting dark, but if I can figure out what variety these are, I will definitely try and put it on the screen because I'm a big fan. Now this bed is interesting because it's the most shaded bed I have, and you can definitely tell all the plants are not as far along and are on the shorter side, which is not ideal, but I still try to plant something in there. So over here we have amaranthus, and that is emerald tassels. Again, especially for this plant, not very long or big or full, but at least I'll have a little drapery if I want it out of a bouquet. And here's an example of that emerald tassels amaranth. Just falls delicately to the side. And then I did actually manage to label the zinnias that I direct seeded in here, but nothing is blooming yet. And I had a critter eat all of them that were right here, so that's at least 3 or 4. So hopefully the rest of these will at least get some blooms on them. And then I also have some of the red mahogany splendor hibiscus, which is definitely smaller than this other one I have growing in a pot. But I've got 3 in here, 1 back here. You can see how short that one is compared to these pots right here where I planted them. And they were just little itty bitty, started from seed when I put them in. Obviously this gets much more sun. It's the west side of the house. But I am really happy with how these look. I came in and put Queenie Lime Blush, and it looks really nice with the purpley red color on the red mahogany splendor hibiscus. So that's a really fun, easy combination. Mahogany red splendor hibiscus and Queenie Lime. The last surprise in this partially shaded bed is all these little bells of Ireland are self-seeded from last year and came back. Obviously not tall, but these 3 right here I can actually use. This is another one that is great for vertical interest. And also be careful because there are little thorns on this. And I personally like to cut all the little leaves off on the outside so it has a nice clean look. And then over here in the back of this snapdragon bed, we have Triloba rudbeckia. This is the first year I'm growing it, but you can see it does get fairly tall. And mine are stacked like this because the sun is over on this side, mostly for this bed. So obviously these are growing more because the sun hits them more than this side. No blooms yet, but excited to see these pop. It's about a week later and something has eaten these Triloba rudbeckia. Look at that. They are chopped off at the top. What creature could get up there and do that? I guess deer, but I haven't seen any. Now in this Iceland poppy and stock bed, this stock is pretty much done, which was so-so for me this year, but I'm glad I grew it because I didn't last year and I missed the smell. I did have some beautiful double blooms and the smell, amazing. And the Iceland poppies, it was a really rough year, but I did get a couple and the color is beautiful on some of them. So enjoyed those few blooms that I did get. But this right here with a deep velvet bloom on it is something I think is really underrated. This is sweet black cherry dianthus, and this scent is also wonderful. It will come back for you potentially if you're in zone 5, because mine did come back in a different bed, but this year I think it was just overgrown by weeds because I didn't get to it. But the scent is so beautiful, and I think the flower itself is really stunning because it's such a deep textural type of red. Almost feels like you could brush your hand across velvet on it. So I'm a fan, and if you love flowers that have an aroma, definitely check it out. Easy to grow from seed. I started these in soil blocks, no problem. Okay, I am out of light and my bouquet is done. I covered the front beds with you, so I'll do a part 2 of the back beds because we've got a lot more to cover. But I'm really happy with this bouquet that I was able to throw together, and sunflowers is gonna be a must for me now. Definitely growing them next year too. But what a pretty little mason jar bouquet! So you saw the amount of space I was working with. All these raised beds are 7 feet by 4 feet, and some of them are a little more sparse this year because of critters eating them, or they just didn't survive and whatnot. So if you have a small space, you can definitely still fit some things in and create some beautiful bouquets. And that'll be it for this video, everyone. I wanted you to be able to see this bouquet in the light because it was getting so dark outside, but I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out. And I hope the person who's getting it will enjoy it as much as I do. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet to follow along with all things garden. I would love to have you here, and like this video, it really helps my channel. Thank you all for your support. We'll see you in the next one. Happy planting! Bye!